All right, I want to go over script marking today. How do we find a script online? How do we copy and paste that into Google Docs? How do we mark it for emphasis, for pauses, and for movement? I've got a section from The Princess Bride that I really, really like. So I found the script on my own. I highlighted the section that I would like to do, and then I'll show you how to make it work and how to mark it so you'll know what words to stress, where to put your pauses, and how to mark it for movement. So I go to New tab. Anytime you want to open a new Google Doc, docs.new, hit return. We go here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the name of the scene on it, Princess Bride script, and put the name of at least one person in your group on it so we know who it belongs to. But I've copied all my stuff from the script, right? So then I come here, Control V is paste. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it fit on the page, which means we need to go all the way across. So I'm going to do some work. Let me remind you how that works. So I'm going to click before the S, backspace, backspace, until it works. Make sure there's a space between the words, right? Yeah, like that. So the words have to go all the way across the page. And this is the way we do it. I'm going to get rid of the extra spaces. This is stage directions. I can get rid of it. But notice I'm moving everything to the left. All right, so here's my little section. I'm doing a tiny section because you don't need to see me do a whole scene for the tutorial. I just need to show you the process. When you do your script, you will need to do the whole scene. But to keep the tutorial short, that's what I am going to do. I like it better, I think, when we have the name of the character and then right below it, without a line break, we have the line they say. So let's get rid of the extra lines. And notice I'm just hitting return until it goes to where it needs to. Oh, if you delete a letter by accident, type it back. If you don't know what that letter is, get online and find it. So what we have is the character's name, and then right below it on the very next line are the lines they say. And let's see if we can get just one blank line in between characters talking. Yeah. All right. So if we want to center everything, can we just highlight everything and then go to my three dots and then center it like that? Yeah. Once that is done, we want a double space. So we click here. We go to double, right? Which spaces it out. Yeah, I like that. And this will give us more room to do what we need to do. So that is step one. Load your text in, center it up, and if we double space, we'll have room to add stuff. And it'll make it easier to read. If the words are all squished, it's hard to read. So that's step one. Load it in, and then center it up, and double space.
Stage 1 complete.
So everything is centered, it's all nice and pretty. Notice the name of the person who's talking is in all caps, just so we know who's talking and when. And there's a blank space between people talking and then the next person talking. But look at what I've done here. Anytime there is a note on movement or interaction, it's in parentheses. So if we have to have three different places where the people stand or sit or crouch or whatever, it tells you right here, where do they start? Buttercup is standing in the aisle, and Farm Boy is seated on the aisle. And then she says, Farm Boy, and then he rises, so that's his first movement, right? In parentheses, him all by himself. And then I have another movement note for her in parentheses, all by herself. She walks front to the saddle, so the saddle's going to be like at the front of the room or something. And then he follows, polish my horse's saddle. I want to see my face shining in it by morning. Notice we're not stressing a whole lot. Polish my horse's what? Saddle. I want to see my face shining in it by morning. And then Wesley, bowing, as you wish. So that's a movement, and guess what? It's an interaction, because who's he bowing to? The woman he loves. Oh God, this is so sweet, I'm gonna die.
He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die! It's so fluffy!
Oh God, I love that movie.
All right, let's see what else we have going on. The grandfather starts in the front, too. So if these two might go to the left-hand side in the front, we might have Grandpa at the right, because he's who? The narrator. Grandfather starts in front. As you wish was all he ever said to her. So keep in mind, as you wish is the magic phrase in here, and you can find out why in a minute. And then, as you wish was all he ever said to her. So the words you stress, you underline it, right? Right. Buttercup is now going to move to the back of the room. So that's her second movement note already, right? Farm boy, and I've underlined both of these words because she calls him farm boy, but duh, we want to hear that she loves him when she says it. So it's more than just a nickname. She's even playing with the nickname that she has for him, farm boy, so you hear, ooh, there's a little something there. Fill these with water. She holds up the buckets. Another movement, another interaction note, right? Because who's she holding the buckets up to? Yeah, her crush. Farm boy moves closer, a little too close, so he can flirt with her. A movement note for him. Here's another movement note for her. Buttercup shies away, a little nervous. Please? Yeah, there's some electricity there. You feel it? I know you do. And then we go to Wesley looking directly into her eyes, standing close, as you wish. So say that really gently and make the shivers go down their spine. It's like, ooh, that's so romantic. What's the next one? Grandfather, moving toward them both. That day, she was amazed to discover that when he was saying, as you wish, what he meant was, I love you. So what I want you to do as you mark your stuff, we need 3 locations per person, right? We need to know where your first place is, where you start. We need to know where your second place is, where you go to, and then at least your third place where you go to from there. So sometimes I'll tell you, this is where we start, this is where we start. And then sometimes we'll just do a movement thing. What does he do? He rises, he stands up. Then we have a movement note where the person moves. She walks to the saddle. She walks where? To the front of the room. So we already have 1 place for her, 2 places for her, before we even get finished with our first line. And then polish my horse's what? Saddle. I want to see my face what? Shining in it by morning. Then an interaction note for Wesley. What is he doing? He's bowing, as you wish. Where does grandfather start? He starts in the front of the room. And then what does he stress? As you wish was all he ever said to her. Another movement note for Buttercup. Buttercup moves to the back of the room. Farm boy, fill these with water. She interacts with him how? By holding up the buckets for him to take. Then we have a movement note just for him. Farm boy moves closer, a little too close, so he can flirt with her. And then another movement for her. Buttercup shies away, a little nervous. What word does she stress to show she's nervous? Please? Interaction note, looks into her eyes and stands close. Stress what? All 3 words, as you wish. A movement note for Grandpa. He stresses the word that. Amazed. He stresses, as you wish. And then, of course, he stresses, I love you. So we'll need to have 3 different places where your character stands. You'll need to interact with your other actors at least 3 different ways. So don't think too hard. Just think, okay, if I were this person, how would I respond to my partners in the scene? Just think like a person, because guess what? You're a person. Seriously. That's all I've got. Thanks. Bye-bye.